Pretty sure everybody's going to know, for the most part, what we're talking about here, so if somehow the projector just seems it wants to work on its own, then we'll be in for a treat. If not, damn! Let's do it, guys! Welcome to Fresh Vinyl Live, G-Fest 23. I'm Rich Iso.
Robert Dwyer.
John Bumpus.
Ryan Mataccio.
David Ardaco.
Alright, so what we're going to do, we got a list of topics we're going to go over. The first thing we're going to talk about is SH Monster Arts and negative figures. We're going to go into, David's going to talk about touching up some figures and whatnot, using what kind of paints, acrylics, epoxies. Then we're going to talk about some X Plus releases, some because there's a lot. And then we're going to talk about some Shin Godzilla toys, and then we're going to go over the, we're going to announce the Summit Kaiju photo contest for everybody that entered in that. We're going to get the winner going with that. The first thing I want to say is, if you're not familiar with Fresh Vinyl Live is, this started out as a kind of a gag almost 3 years ago with myself, Samson West, and Kyle Young of Kaiju Cast. We were messing around on the computer. It was like, hey, let's, how can we get everybody together other than G-Fest? I had so much fun my first G-Fest in 2013. I wanted to, keep reliving that excitement, that joy that we're all having here this weekend. So Fresh Vinyl Live was born out of this idea of sitting in front of our computers on Google Hangouts, having a good time, talking what we love most, mostly about toys, collecting, our experiences, and everything that we do in this hobby. And that was almost 3 years ago, so I think this is Fresh Vinyl Live episode 26 or something, I gotta figure it out. So we've been doing it for 3 years, sometimes quarterly, every so often. So that's what Fresh Vinyl Live is. Look for it on YouTube, Fresh Vinyl Reviews. I also do reviews on X Plus figures, some other stuff, SH Monster Arts and whatnot. And we're going to get right into this with my topic for NECA and SH Monster Arts. Over here we have the brand new release, SH Monster Arts GMK. This is the NECA Godzilla 54. Who has either of these figures? Raise your hands. Okay, who has the NECA 54? Alright, good figure, right?
Yeah.
It is a good figure.
Yeah.
Does anybody have the GMK yet? Good figure, right? You can't go wrong. They're two good figures.
Rich, we're live now. You gotta go in.
That's not my picture. But that works. We can watch, if you want to, if I'm bored, you can watch Ultra Q. I'll keep talking. We'll let them work on that. No, somebody's missing a hand.
Uh-oh.
Raise your missing hand.
That's one of the small issues with those figures. They do fall apart pretty easily if you're not careful.
Yes, they do. So,
Jeez, David, read me a poem.
What's that?
I said, read me a poem.
I know, it's...
one of the biggest... We're stepping on each other.
Is that Dr. Who now?
That works for me, doesn't it, anyways? There's craziness. So one of the things that bothers me the most in this collecting world of ours is that a lot of people will say, this is better. And then a lot of people say, well, this is better. So what I want to point out is, what each figure is. We'll start off with SH Monster Arts. These figures, they're more money than NECA. This was about $100 to get it to my door. This is $20 you can pick up in the store. What better is to go to the store and pick up a figure for yourself with your own hands, SH Monster Arts has more points of articulation. NECA doesn't. That doesn't mean it's not a bad figure. You can do all the same things with it. Open the mouths and all that good stuff. We know what they do. Some people don't understand, I think, when it comes to SH Monster Arts, that you got Yuji Sakai sculpting these figures. Yuji Sakai is a premium sculptor in Japan. He's been doing sculpting Godzilla figures, models, resins, all kinds of crazy stuff, miniatures, for years. So he's a premium, and you're going to get a great product. I mean, if you look at this figure, it is phenomenal. Shh. The NECA, I never thought I'd own a NECA figure because it just didn't tickle my fancy per se. But when I really saw this up in front, actually, I really wish if the person's out here that did that video with the Godzilla Bank, is he here? Anybody know if he's here? He's not here because he would raise his hand already. So, The guy, has anybody seen the bank video with the NECA? Tell me that is not a phenomenal video. If you haven't seen it, look it up. You know, Godzilla walks around, he did a whole stop motion with it. That convinced me, he's like, you know what, I need this figure. And it is a great figure, it's sculpted well. Mike Drakowski of Vampire Robots, he's friends with the sculptor that is doing the NECA figures now. The GMK that's coming out, I'm gonna pick that up too. Because I think it looks really good. How could you go wrong for a $20 figure? When I was 14 years old, we had Treadmasters, and I thought they were great. Now, if I had this when I was 14-year-old, I'd be happy as something David would say often when I'm saying, you know, I'm just rolling all in that fresh vinyl. But this is a great looking figure. We have reached the top!
Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy Souls.
Summit Kaiju. Well, there they are, if you want to get a better look at them. So, NECA, SH Monster Arts, I always tell collectors that ask me this question, buy what you like, buy what you can afford. You know, don't let any other person's opinion sway you on what you should get. You know, everybody has a budget, trust me, I get it, this hobby's expensive. We'll go into that about X Plus a little bit, but get what you like. Both figures are doing the same thing. They're marketed at two different, you know, consumers, but they're essentially the same thing. So I think the whole pissing match between NECA and SH Monster Arts needs to stop. Just stop it if you're out there doing that. It's not fresh. Okay? While we're talking about SH Monster Arts, well, there's a 50. Oh, I forgot to mention. Here's the 54 with the SH Monster Arts 54, which is also coming out soon. Okay? Same thing, essentially. Both 54s, one sculpted by Yuki Sakai and the other one's from NECA. All right? And they both look good. Now we'll be getting the SH Monster Arts 54. So any articulated fans out there, make sure you check out Diego Doom's videos. He does a lot of articulated figure reviews. Okay? Good. All right. Yeah. So everybody's looking forward to this one. SH Monster Arts stepped it up a notch. They added some BAM to it, and they're releasing the Godzilla 89. It's supposed to be, I think, about 8 inches tall. It comes with light-up fins, roaring effects, music effects, and he's a big boy. And that's going to be about, I think, $180 I think they were asking for. So
8-inch figure.
That's an 8-inch figure, yeah. So again, you know, there's a premium difference between SH Monster Arts, what they're doing, and NECA. So, for you SH Monster Arts fans. And then we'll touch a little bit about Shin Godzilla figures, but there's a Shin Godzilla SH Monster Arts coming as well. Okay? Good. David, you're up.
Oh, I'm next. Okay, so how many of you have gotten a figure, X Plus or otherwise, in the mail, and it's slightly damaged, there's a scuff, there's a nick or something? Can I see a show of hands? How many? Oh, wow, okay. So this is something that I do with almost every one of my figures because I'm a perfectionist, and you pay a lot of money for these and you want them to be perfect, right? So basically what I do when I get a figure, I inspect it, and then I have my arsenal of paints all set to go. Well, actually, first let me show you what I did. The Daimajin originally had a spike in his head, and I wanted one without a spike, and they hadn't released one yet, so I actually just removed the spike and put a little epoxy sculpt over it, and then painted it and made it my own custom figure. Now, a lot of people don't like to do that because they think it ruins the value or the quality of the figure, but for me, I'm never going to sell it, and it's my own personal piece, so I make it the way I want it to be. Has anyone ever tried to customize their figures before?
Yeah.
A few of you. Cool. And the GMK 25 centimeter, that one, I thought the mouth was a little open too wide, so I cut it out with an X-Acto knife and I closed it a little bit more, and then I put the sides to make it match. And then finally the 84, how many of you guys have that? The 30 centimeter 84. I didn't like the mouth, thought it was a little too wide, so as you can see I closed the mouth on that one too. And just don't be afraid to experiment and play with your figures, because you know they're yours. Unless you want to resell them, then maybe that's not such a good idea. But anyway, Rich, do you have the one with the paints on it? Oh, okay. This is the most drastic change that I did. This is for Samson West. This is his 25 centimeter 1975 Godzilla, and I think X Plus may have missed the mark just a little bit with that sculpt. So I kind of customized it, and as you can see, it looks a little bit different than the one that everyone else has. So, and then again, the 30 centimeter 1989, that's a little bit of a customized job too.
The 89, anybody have the Diamond 89? The reissue? Okay, so we all know that the mouth opens and closes, right?
Yes.
So, David, what did you do to yours?
Yeah, I didn't even have to do any really plastic surgery on this one. This one, I just basically found a spot that I liked the mouth to be open at, and I kind of puttied it up with a product that I'm going to show you in a second, and then just matched the paint, and there you have it. And I also repainted the eyes to be a bit more movie accurate too. I'm just going to quickly go through this. I thought the head position tilted up was a little too much. I wanted more of a forward look, so I actually cut the vinyl, moved it down a little bit, and then I resculpted it. You can see how it looks before I repainted it. So it's just a little bit of, and then you have to texture the resculpting to make it match the scale pattern of your figure. This is the all-famous King Ghidorah that had a lot of issues with it. Luckily, mine came pristine, even though I did get it from Ami. How many of you had issues with your King Ghidorah? Oh, not as many as I thought. Mine actually came out perfect out of the box, but I did think the mains were a little basic color paints, because Godzilla is made up of many different colors, not just straight gray, not just straight black, and dear God, not green. I don't know who it was that thought Godzilla was green.
Dark Horse.
What's that?
Dark Horse.
Oh, Dark Horse.
Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah, down with Dark Horse, okay. You can just go to any hobby shop or art store and get some acrylic paints. Make sure they're acrylic, not oil-based, because that's going to cause you a lot more problems. Match the paint. What I usually do is test it on the bottom of the foot to match it, so if it's off, it doesn't really affect anything. And then real quickly, that's the epoxy sculpt, which is great. It's a two-part sculpting material that you just put on it. It dries in 3 hours, and you can add your texture, and there's the glue and the microplot for the eyes and things. And the Zap Kicker is something I don't know if you guys ever used. It bonds pieces of vinyl together in seconds, literally in seconds. So you guys can, I don't want to take up too much more time, so you feel free to ask me in the hallway or after this if you have any specific questions about customizing. So I think I've already taken up too much time, so Rich, you want to?
Like 3 minutes.
Oh, I have 3 minutes.
I have a question,
Yes, sir.
For a novice kit builder or somebody looking to start out, how hard would it be to use those products?
You know, the acrylic painting is pretty easy, because if you make a mistake, it's water-based, you can actually wash it off, or wipe it off. Yes, Sam knows. The epoxy sculpt is pretty easy too. It's non-toxic. It's not like the squadron putty that we all had to use back in the day. Remember, it's really toxic. You have to do it with an open window. You can use it with your hands, and it's a two-part thing. It's like a Play-Doh almost. And you just use a little tool to make the detail on the sculpt. And yeah, it's pretty easy, Rich. Resin kits and resin pieces are a little more difficult, but that's a whole other story. But if you get a scuff or a scrape, match the paint, take a little color, and it's gone. It's good as new. And if you have a really difficult situation and you can't fix it, just email me and send it to me and I can fix it for you. But there will be a small fee. I'm the great entrepreneur. I guess nobody really saw Godzilla 1964.
Oh,
okay.
David's definitely not tooting his own horn. He's extremely talented, but a really cool thing you can do if you want to learn how to do this kind of stuff is just pick up a cheap figure. Get like a Van Dyke Creations figure for like 10 bucks, go get some paint, and 20 bucks later, you can sit there and figure out how to do this for yourself, and then you can save yourself hundreds of dollars down the line, a lot of time and a lot of frustration.
Good, that's a good call. And I also do have a tutorial that I did on, I can't remember, Rich, what site it was on. Was it Godzilla Collectors Group, I believe?
yes, you did.
And it's a really detailed step-by-step way to go about this process. And again, just experiment, and then you can get more creative. That first cut in the vinyl is always really scary, and it always turns out well in the end. Well, not always. And again, anybody has any questions afterwards, please feel free to ask me.
Whoa. Does anybody like X Plus here? Bam! That's up. You do? Why don't you start talking about this new release?
Well,
Told.
of course, a lot of people have been waiting for the 30cm Magnetic Festival in 1975, and of course, here it is. I'm assuming this is the Rick. I'm
Rick,
seen it. Yeah,
yep.
with the exposed brain, which to me.